Hello, everyone, and welcome to Compassionate Conversations. I'm Tanys Coughlan with My Place Home Care, and I'm joined by my co-host, Heidi Gagne. Hi, Heidi. How's it going? Good. Awesome. And we have two amazing guests today. So we have Meg Stickl from AIM Fitness, and we have Catherine Bennet from BuildAble, because our topic today is fall prevention. So, Meg, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll hear from Catherine as well.
Yes, thanks for having me on the show. So my name is Meg. I've been working with seniors and adults 50 plus for over 17 years as a fitness instructor and certified personal trainer. And my goal has always been to help people who are aging to age well and to live more independently. My background is I was working in a retirement residence, and I saw a lot of people who had to move out of their own homes, often when they didn't want to. Often it was due to a fall, or it was due to leg strength or balance issues. And they all didn't always want to make that move, but often they did because we could provide really good care for them. So over the years, I've seen that so many people have benefited by exercising. So that's really my whole passion, is to help people stay active as they get older.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm Catherine Bennet, and I am with BuildAble, so I'm a community engagement lead with them. Been here for a year, but they've been around for 11 years. Prior to that, I actually have a social work degree from Carleton. So I always was really interested in the seniors, like gerontology world of courses. And I did like my co-op placements in that capacity. And I've worked with seniors for a long time, also people with disabilities as well. So I was a case manager out in Halifax for people with disabilities and helped them with accessibility features in their homes too. And and I also worked actually in home care back in the day. So I've worked a lot with seniors basically and people with disabilities for many, many, many years. So, and yeah, I love it. I love it. It's an occupation for me.
Ooh, I like that term, occupation.
Yes, yeah.
That's awesome. So fall prevention. Yeah, I think you have a couple of stats that you'd like to share with us. Do you want to share those, and we'll move into conversation from there? There we go.
Okay, yeah. So do you want me to go? Okay. So so the big thing to know is that falls are the number one cause of injuries for seniors. So it's a staggering number, and this is why we want to empower people to show them what you can do to prevent falls. So senior falls injuries cost the healthcare system $5.6 billion a year. So it's 15.3 million a day. So this is like direct cost of the medical system. And we know that it affects when people fall and they break a hip, or break something. It affects the families. The families, have to do a lot of caregiving, and it affects their home. They have to maybe get something like, built so that they can go home. It's a really, really, really big issue. And this is why we really want to come on here and show people that there is a major human cost of seniors falls. And actually of all ages as well. It's not just seniors who fall, but it's when seniors do fall, it's harder for them to feel better and get better. And sometimes they don't ever leave the hospital and come home. Sometimes they go to long-term care and they pass away there. So it's really, really something that we know that it could be, a lot of these falls can be prevented. And that's really why, I think that's why we're here today, is to show that we can empower people to make that change, to make the changes needed to prevent falls. So and then there's, for seniors, falls account for 61% of injury deaths and 81% of injury hospitalizations. So huge. These are huge, huge numbers. Like, people die from falls. They hit their head, something like that, die. So it's very serious.
Are for all of Ontario or Canada, or?
Yeah, this is like a general overview. Okay. Yeah, but this is going to happen in every part of the world too. Like how falls affect the system, the family, the medical system. So it's a staggering number. So it's really, really, really key that we have to do something. It's an epidemic. It's an epidemic. So I don't think people realize how serious these falls, what can happen from these falls. So.
And it can really be the smallest thing, right? A mat that's not in the right place,
Exactly, it's the smallest thing, and then it can change the trajectory of their whole life, right? Like, people want to stay at home, eat happily and safely, and then it's a fall can affect their whole life after. Right? They
Mhm.
come out of a wheelchair, let's say, for example, that changes their whole life, right? So yeah, it's really, really serious.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked before the show about towel bars. People try
Oh,
and
yes.
grab their towel bars, thinking that that's
Yes.
going to, and that creates a fall because they're not
Oh, yeah,
typically.
they're grabbing. Yeah, like so when people are getting out of the showers, they're reaching for like the towel bar. They often do that, or like sometimes you'll see them grab for like the toilet hole, like
Right.
the holder. They'll hold
Yeah.
that to get up, but those are not installed properly, right? They don't have anchors in the back. They're going to come out of the wall. They're going to fall. So those are not suitable. They're not. Yeah. So grab bars. We always say if you're going to do anything, is to get grab bars. Robin. Yeah, so grab
Excellent.
bars are what you want installed. One company that we use a lot is Healthcraft, and they're actually they're a local company, and they make lovely, beautiful grab bars that don't look like a hospital setting. So yeah, you can get this, and I'll just show you this one while we're on this topic. And this is also this is a towel grab bar. I'm talking about towel. This is actually like a grab bar, and it's a 2-in-1. It's a multi-use. So you basically just hang your towel. You'll go around, wrap around here, and you can grab onto this one when you get out of the shower. So this one is something that is going to hold up to 500 pounds. So yeah, so there's
And they
beautiful ones, different like finishes, like black ones, gold ones. Yeah, so yeah, they're beautiful.
Stylish.
and we often think that grab bars are not stylish. But
Exactly. We
those
think
are
that they're
really
pretty
nice, right?
hospital. They look very like sterile and not beautiful, but yeah, we can make them like gorgeous. And we always say like everyone should have grab bars, regardless of the age. Because even like my child, when he was young, he would slip in the bathtub too, right? Like
Yeah.
kids fall, and my friend who's like my age, she just fell recently in the bathtub. So in the shower. So I mean, it happens at all ages. So grab bars are going to be good for all ages, all abilities. Anyone can benefit.
Mhm. And since we're on that topic, I think we also have a couple of pictures before and after, because these are pretty amazing when you look at the before and the after of what you guys can do, style wise and stuff. So let's take a look at that.
Yes, there's the before. So yes, you can see like the height, like the wall, like that's a regular bathtub, right? So it's 17, 18 inches. Who knows? I'm not totally sure what that one is, but they're high, right? So for someone to get into that, sometimes it's hard to lift their leg over that, and it's not steady. So we basically, this one became actually a roll-in shower. So they took everything out. They even actually changed the toilet location, so that the person, I think now must be in a wheelchair. I don't totally know the story, but they now can actually roll their wheelchair right into that beautiful shower area. So yeah, so you'll see, if you look closely on the last slide, you'll see all the different grab bars that are situated on there. So we also have like the bamboo bench there as well, so people can, instead of having like the plastic benches that sometimes you see, you get like this beautiful one that you could it actually holds up, like you could put it up so it's out of the way. And
I asked that when I was looking at that. I'm like, does that fold up? Because if somebody doesn't need it, it will take up space. But
it will hold up and all stay. Yeah, so it would fold up, and so it has all the different, so there's a towel one, and then there's one that goes sometimes around the knob of the shower. So there's another grab bar. So we always want to have at least 2, 3 grab bars that people can hold on, have both hands hanging on to the grab bar. So that's a roll-in shower. So we also do shower conversions. Those are done quicker than something like this, because this one would have to change a lot, the flooring and everything. So this one takes longer, but we also do shower conversions that are done in 2 to 5 days. And they would have a bit of a lift though. They would have a base to get into the shower.
Right.
And those ones though, if someone's still able to walk in, they just want to get rid of that big high wall of a bathtub, then we just put that one in, and then it's done really quickly. And then we would then put in all their accessories. So they would choose their grab bars, the look, the style, and then it's a pre-fab system. So the walls just come in, and we could just slide, we just put them in. They don't have the grout and the tiles, they just take as long, because they're all prefabricated. So, but they look really, really beautiful. So that's another option where if you want a more affordable option, then shower conversions are maybe the option for somebody.
I've heard a cutout, doing a cutout of the tub. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
what you're kind of talking about with the lip, or is it literally cutting out what's already there?
Actually, yeah. So actually, this is actually, we take out the bathtub and we put in a base. So it's not the cutout. It's not the bathtub cutout. It's actually just like a base. It's a whole panel, like a whole base. So it's like this about this high, and then we just put it on the floor.
Oh, okay.
And then we build around it. We put the prefab walls on it, and then if they want glass or the shower curtain. But yeah, it's not that one. But yeah, it looks really, really beautiful too. So
Awesome.
So I have a question about falls, because I was looking at your presentation that you both like to do, that you do together, which is fantastic. So what are the two areas of the home that falls occur the most?
So the
Who would
first
like to
area,
answer that?
the first area that a lot of people have and is a high traffic area are stairs. So anyone who lives in their own home often, will go up and down the stairs many times a day. And often what happens and reasons people fall is sometimes we put things on the stairs that we want to take upstairs later on in the day. So it's easy to trip over things. Now, I have a little dog. I know lots of people have pets, and sometimes cats or dogs stay and sleep on the stairs. So that's another hazard, is tripping over your pet. And then I have a client who recently said, Meg, I fell on the stairs the other day, and it totally shocked her. So it was at night. She hadn't turned the light on, and she just tripped. She missed a step, and she tripped down the stairs. Luckily, no broken bones, but she said, oh my goodness, it was such a silly fall. I should have just turned the light on. So that can happen too, whether you trip up or down the stairs. I know people who've done both. So especially if you don't have a carpet on your stairs, and if you're wearing sock feet, that's another hazard, is, if your feet are a little bit slippery on the wood, then that's another danger. And then the second room that is also has a lot of dangers at times is the bathroom. And this can be because, of course, we know there's a lot of water in the bathroom, whether you're washing your hands and you're dripping as you reach for the towel, or you're getting in and out of the tub or the shower. So it is easy to slip. Again, you can, like Catherine mentioned, you can catch your foot as you're getting in or out of the tub, and it's easy to lose your balance even getting up from the toilet. So that's another area where we really want to make sure we have non-slip mats, because often if we do step out of the shower and if that mat moves under our feet, again, we're unsteady and it can lead to a fall. So it's good for people to know that these are the two areas, because then we can be a bit more cautious and have those grab bars installed, or make sure we are holding onto the handrail as we go up and down the stairs.
Well, and I think that it's also good to mention that you want your mats to be in good shape, right? Because when they get older, the ends tend to curl a little bit, right? And then you've got a tripping hazard with that. So
sometimes
sometimes
we tell people to tape down the corners, actually.
Yes.
Because you do see that, or you see people that have like the frayed rugs, like they're like these beautiful rugs that have like these strings at the ends.
Yes.
They're usually very dangerous. So we you just roll those up and
They're very pretty.
Yeah. Or like that sticky stuff at the bottom. But yes.
Yeah.
Rugs are very scary.
Recently, I went to someone's house and I noticed they had a new mat, and I commented on it because it moved under my feet as I went into the bathroom. So anyways, I said, oh my goodness, this is really dangerous. I actually just talked about fall prevention this week. I don't think this is the mat to keep. So I was very happy when I went back a week later and the mat had been replaced. There was a new mat that did not move, didn't budge. So sometimes we just go for things that are stylish, right? We don't really think about the function, or we don't really even think, okay, will it stick to the floor or not? So I think having this on people's awareness can really be helpful, especially if you do have a relative that you go to visit and you say, oh, Mom, I don't think this is safe. Let's get you a double-sided tape, or let's make sure that you are safe in your home.
I know from my experience too, when I was working in the field, we would have in home care, and we would have people with like scatter mats on top of rugs. as
Oh.
well.
Yeah.
And so that is also a bit of a danger, right? Because you've got your rug pile, and then you've got this sitting like on top of the pile. So there's like this spot where feet can go in between and really becomes a tripping
Exactly.
hazard.
Yeah. And sometimes people don't, when they're older, they don't lift their feet as much. They kind of shuffle.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's also, they would hit that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's any age though, because I mean, I'm only 46 and we recently renovated our bathroom a couple of years ago. We still wanted a tub because we have grandsons. So we wanted to bathe them. So we got a higher one. And I realized when I'm climbing in and out, and I'm tall, I'm 5'8", 5'9". So I'm tall. So I'm climbing over it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall. So I had to get like one of those mats for in the tub. And now I'm thinking I might need to get a grab bar beside
You definitely need some grab bars.
because it still is high. And you know, like I was starting to slip at one point and I put my foot down and I kind of like wrenched my hip just a smidge. And then I couldn't lift my leg fully for like a week. I'm like, okay, this is dumb.
Yeah.
I need to fix this. Yeah. So you don't I mean, it's not just seniors as well. And kind of as long as you start, and you should start thinking about it at any age because it's safety and it's never going to go away. Like
exactly. People fall.
And fall hazards are always there unless you fix them. And it can hurt anybody. Yeah. Even little kids climbing off the toilet. My daughter, when she was potty training, her feet dangle. So she would like push her hand on the toilet roll holder and like, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna fall out of the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. So
scary.
Okay, so then what are some fall risk factors in the home that we may not expect? So you can see stepping out of the tub, you can see the mats. So what are some things that we wouldn't think about unless we were professionals?
Well, so there are like a lot of different things. So the decluttering and everything, we talked about that. One thing is just talk a little bit more about the lighting. I know we talked a little bit about that, but just to re-emphasize that.
Yeah.
So to make sure that, because when people get up sometimes at night, to use the washroom, that does happen. People are a little bit groggy and, they're not really seeing as well. We just recommend that people put on like motion lights or like night lights, kind of like through the hallways to get to the bathroom, right? Also to make sure there's good lighting outside. So sometimes when I used to go to seniors' homes, it'd be very, very dark. Like if I was going there in the night, they wouldn't have like lights on there. So we just recommend that they have like maybe motion lights that would really be really bright so that if they're going up the steps to their home, that they can see where they're going. So that's a really big thing. And then so, and also like the shelving. So we often like in the kitchen. So people often like have like dishes and everything in different locations and pots and pans. If you're going to be using the same dishes often, we often tell people to put them, at their arm's reach. So make sure that they're there. I know that like with our company, we do accessible kitchens, and we can like, the pots and pans, like I have a corner where I kind of have to put my whole head in to get like pots and pans out. We actually make one where like the drawer comes out and the pots and pans are just right there, like flush with like, your arms. You don't like reach down. So that's a really big one too. Or like they're not climbing up onto a stool or something to get something really elevated in the kitchen. So just to make sure they're all at the arms way, right? Like in that level.
That helps when you declutter too, right? Because you get rid of all the stuff that you don't really need.
Declutter, get rid of things that you don't need. Yeah, that's a big thing too.
Another risk factor is the fear of falling. And I see with a lot of the seniors that I work with. So if people have had one fall that's been really bad, maybe it's been really traumatic, they broke a bone, or maybe they know someone who was sent to the hospital and they had a really bad situation, people can become very fearful. And what happens is when people become fearful is often they become more inactive. So they no longer leave the house. Oh, it's snowy, it's winter, I'm not going to leave the house anymore. And it leads to a lot of isolation where they may not be socializing with their friends, they may not be going to their exercise class or walking as much. And what happens then is we lose a lot of strength. So our muscle strength declines, we lose a lot of muscle tone. And with that, it means it becomes more difficult to do things around the house. Getting out of chairs is more difficult. People may lose their balance and not be able to maintain it or to get it back. And it becomes this cycle, because when we lose that strength, we then are more prone and more at risk to actually have another fall. And then that continues this cycle of fear. So just this week, I was telling a group of seniors that as soon as you notice that you're afraid of falling, that's when you need to make a plan. And one of the best defenses against falls is to strengthen your body. Strengthen your legs, strengthen your core, focus on balance exercises. And it's really empowering. It's an empowering way to think about it, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm afraid of falling. I just have to change my lifestyle. I can't do the things that I want to do. And I've heard of people who won't go to the restaurants with their kids because they're worried about falling, or they think, oh, I can't get in and out of their car. So it can really change people's lives and really reduce independence. So if you think about, okay, what can I do? Okay, I can do some exercises right at home. I can join an online fitness community, or I can follow along on YouTube. I know so many people even have exercises they've been given by their physiotherapist. So maybe it's just pull out those sheets, dust them off, and get going again. But really thinking about this as something that you can proactively do can change so much for people.
Well, and there's a lot of chair exercises that if they're really feeling insecure or they're quite weak, they can start to build those muscles while seated, right? If they're worried about starting again.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't think exercising on a chair counts. So sometimes they think, oh no, I used to, be able to run. I used to be able to do so much more. It won't be effective if I'm sitting. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. You can get your heart rate up. You can really strengthen your body all sitting down. And those who are looking for a way to get started, I do have a YouTube channel with over 500 exercise videos. Many of them are done seated on a chair. So so that's definitely a great resource if you are looking for ways to stay active right at home.
Awesome, thank you. And I think we have that down below in the comments. So
yeah, I think we're going to add that in.
Yeah.
But My Place Home Care, we actually use some of Meg's exercises and her videos in our Dementia Day program, where our caregivers can use those with clients with dementia to keep them active and engaged in something, because especially if they used to be very active in their youth, it's something they might actually remember doing. So we have all the links for a lot of your chair yoga and a few other ones. I think we have quite a few links. Some might not just be Meg's, but a lot of them are. So we use those regularly for our clients, which is great.
Especially with people who have dementia, there's something called muscle memory. So if you have been active earlier in life, and even if it's been a few years and you've taken some time off, you think, oh, I've really got to get started again. You'll notice if you have exercised in the past, your body will remember a lot of the movements. And over the years, I've had a number of clients who have dementia, or, their memory isn't as good as it used to be. And I'll start leading them through different movements, reaching up, lifting knees, doing some twists, and right away they catch on. And it's amazing to see how our body remembers. It's really quite amazing.
Well, and I think it's important to remember with dementia too, that you can make exercise fun for them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? Like doing it like a little dance with them to get them engaged and moving, all exercises.
Using a ball and that sort of activity as well can help, like a balloon or something like that. You see that a lot, which is, again, strengthening their bodies.
And it makes a difference mentally. We've had a number of people that we've worked with, and their spouses have said, Meg, on the day that you and your team come, my husband is more talkative, he's more with it, he's happier, he's less agitated, and that has been something we've heard over the years. So it really is exciting to hear that, exercise does strengthen the body, and it really keeps people engaged, but also there's that mental factor too. And we know that as there's more blood flow going throughout the body, it also goes to the brain. And it's so important for everyone to really keep that in mind. So many mental benefits too to exercise.
So how much time a week should somebody exercise to keep that going, that vibe, that goodness moving? How long?
Yeah, it's a great question. I get this a lot because a lot of people think, oh, I really don't do enough. And so what we want to aim for, and the Canadian guidelines say we should be aiming for 150 to 200 minutes of exercise each week. And this may seem like a really big number. A lot of people think, oh my gosh, I'm not even close. But if you break it down, that ends up being 30 minutes every day. And a lot of what we do does count. So the other day someone said, well, Meg, I was vacuuming for 10 minutes. Does that count? Absolutely. So if you're vacuuming, if you're dancing, maybe you're putting on some good music, maybe you're doing some stretches in the morning for your neck and shoulders, maybe you're actively lifting weights, using resistance bands or the ball like we've talked about. Those are all really good ways and they all do count. Now, this is a minimum, so there's a lot of people, I think the majority of people are not getting 30 minutes a day. And you can understand how, it does take motivation to exercise. And then we also need to know what to do. So that can hold a lot of people back when they think, well, I used to exercise, but now I have a bad hip, or my shoulder is not really working too well, so I don't feel like I can lift weights safely. So I do recommend starting slow, seeing a physiotherapist if you do have an ongoing issue. And often that's a really good place to start because they can diagnose what's going on and then help you rehab and get better. But definitely, I would say this is somewhere to start. 30 minutes a day, you can always build. You can always add a bit more. And just last week, there was a gentleman who attended one of my presentations. And he said, what's your advice for me? I am not getting anywhere close to 30 minutes a day. I'm closer to 10 minutes. I do a 10-minute walk, that's it. And I said, well, that's awesome. Congratulate yourself for what you are doing, because often we can be hard on ourselves. And I said, add to that. So if you're doing your 10-minute walk, come back and grab your weights, or if you don't have weights, you can use water bottles. And do a few arm movements. You can do bicep curls, you can do some punches, but just having a bit of extra weight can help build up those muscles. And I'll show you a few more exercises specifically for balance and leg strength a little bit later. But there's so many things you can do in your chair. So even twisting from side to side, again, holding onto that weight, or reaching out to the side, stretching up and then tapping your knees or your toes. And start with 5 minutes and then gradually increase to 10 minutes. And then over time, you're going to find that, oh, that time went by really fast. That was kind of fun. And then without even realizing it, you're going to spend a bit more time exercising. But sometimes it does take that decision. It really does take that decision to say, okay, I'm going to be more intentional about what I do.
And I think it's important to note that it doesn't have to be all at the same time during that day, right? You can do like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and just do different times of the day and add it into your routine. So, do a little bit, like you said, a little bit of stretching when you get up, and then, go for a walk at lunch and come back and do some more stretching, and then a little bit of stretching before you go to bed, or a little bit more weights or something before you go to bed to help increase that.
That's it. So a number of years ago, I coined the term snacking on exercise. And it's exactly that concept. It's taking a little break, a little exercise break throughout your day. And people really like that. And it's a new concept for a lot of us because we tend to think, okay, my workout has to be an hour. I have to be sweating and I have to be in pain in order for it to count. And that is not true. Things have changed. We don't want to be in pain. There's a way to exercise safely, but it doesn't have to be that long as well. So I find that when people start to snack on exercise, they kind of get addicted. Say, oh, what else can I do? What can I do in the bathroom while I'm brushing my teeth? What can I do by the counter when I'm waiting for my coffee to brew in the morning? So in all of my programs, put together, call it my top 3 exercises. And I put it together in a PDF that people can then print off and put on their fridge. And it's a really good way to just get into that mindset of, yeah, I can move my body, I can do 3 exercises, that's it, but it still makes a big difference.
Walking around islands in your kitchen, because, everybody has an island now. Walking around the island, well, I'm going to do that now while I wait for my coffee to brew. I got a nice big 6-foot island. I can do a nice couple of turns there. My dogs don't trip me, of course.
Fall prevention.
Yeah. Well, when Meg was talking about the stairs and animals, every time I have she's almost 3, but she just stops. A dog. She just stops on the stairs, and I'm like, okay,
Yes.
you're going to hurt me soon. Like, you need to move. And it's funny because I started thinking about stairs as well, because our oldest dog, who's 11, the vet said, make sure her, she's getting kind of glaucoma. You're going to need to start watching that, make sure the lights are on when she's going up and down the stairs. I'm like, oh, yeah, like that. I don't think about it because I've never had an issue navigating the stairs. And so now I'm like, oh, I got to turn the lights on for the dog. And I'm like, this actually might be good for me too.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Oh, it's
Yeah.
true.
Getting your eyes-
Yeah, it gets into your head.
everyone should get their eyes checked like every year, right? Because
Yeah, that
you
too.
can't see like properly, right? Like depth perception changes, right? So we always say that, and also get your medications checked,
Mm-hmm.
because some medications cause dizziness or like whatnot, or they conflict with each other. So yeah, so we always say get like a meds checked by like a pharmacist or a doctor to make
Mm-hmm.
sure there's no like contradictions there, and also proper nutrition. That's
So
a big,
the 4 pillars of fall protection,
That's right.
or prevention. That's right. I was reading about that in your information. So what is it about nutrition that helps with fall prevention?
Yeah, so having more protein in our diet is really important. So as people get older, and even actually it's as early as 30, we start to lose muscle mass. So we do need to have more protein, and especially for older adults, because they really do lose that strength faster. So protein, whether it's, it doesn't have to be meat, but it could be having a protein shake, adding protein powder to your smoothie to add it in that way, having more eggs, more legumes, nuts and seeds. There's lots of different options. If you just Google, meals without meat, full of protein, you can get so many great ideas. But that's one aspect. And then we tend to work with a lot of people who have osteoporosis. So with people who have osteoporosis, they often don't know they have it until they fall and break a bone. So it can be quite a shock. And recently I was chatting with a gentleman who was in his early 50s, and he reached out to work with me because he said, Meg, I just slipped and I hit my shoulder right against a counter and I broke my shoulder. And he said, I went to the doctor and the doctor tested me for osteoporosis because he said, you shouldn't have broken your shoulder. Something's definitely wrong. There wasn't enough force for that to happen. So we found out indeed he has it. So he started working with one of my personal trainers. So he said, all right, I need some specific exercises that are focused on weight-bearing movements to really build up my strength. So he was shocked because he was young, 55, you would never expect to have osteoporosis then. So he also tweaked his diet, and what we recommend is to have more calcium, more vitamin D, and you can get this from both food sources, lots of green leafy vegetables, and then also taking supplements can be helpful too. But we want to definitely add those things in, even if you don't have osteoporosis, really to keep those bones strong as we get older. And then a lot of people do find it is tough to have those 3 meals a day, and a lot of studies are showing it's actually better to have smaller meals throughout the day. But we know that many seniors have cooked all their lives and they just don't want to think about making big meals. So often the default can be toast, just kind of what's in the pantry, maybe crackers, but there's not much substance in that. So one idea that I really like is making yourself a little charcuterie board. So using up the vegetables and the fruit, having some cheese, having some, meat, and just making yourself a little platter that is full of really good nutrients, lots of vegetables. Hummus can be nice to add as well. So again, there's protein in that. I'm doing a bit of research to find out what am I eating and how can I fill in the gaps so that I'm making sure that my body is supporting my lifestyle, and also, especially as we exercise, we require really good nutrition to keep us going.
Well, and the protein helps to keep blood sugars a little more stable as well, correct?
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
So we don't have that crash.
Yeah, because that can, of course, create falls too. If you're
That's right.
crashing. So.
Yes, yeah.
That's
Yes.
water.
Lots of water.
Drink water. Drink
Yeah.
at least 8 glasses a day. Drink everyone. Yeah. If you
Like
don't
soda
drink,
water.
yeah, everyone.
Water.
But
Because it
it is
causes
water,
dizziness.
and I think it's great that there are so many new soda water flavors out there, because I think there's a lot more hydrated people now because of that. Because I used to not drink water. Like I don't like the taste of it. It's bland, it's boring. I like taste, I like flavor. I went to culinary arts school when I graduated high school. Like I like flavor, and it would drive me. I don't want to drink water. It makes me feel sloshy and gross and heavy. But soda water, no problem. And I will drink like 3 or 4 cans of soda water, and there's no sugar, there's no sodium, there's nothing in it. So it's perfect. And it's better on my skin. I don't get headaches anymore. It's just amazing when you're hydrated what happens to your body.
Well,
Do
it
you have
helps
like
your brain function and
more
everything.
energy?
More energy. My daughter bought one of the narrow hydro flasks, and she started drinking a lot more water, and she said, Mom, I don't have a headache anymore all the time, and my skin is really nice.
That's right.
And I'm like, I've been telling you to drink more water, I don't know for how long.
Yeah, but we're the moms, Heidi.
Yeah, that's right. I don't
we're
know
the moms.
Yeah.
16, she knows everything.
Yeah, I know of a few people who've had falls and had to go to the hospital just to get checked up, but what they found was that they were dehydrated, and that could have been the reason that they fell. So so it's so good to talk about water, and I love, Heidi, what you're saying about just having so many more options now, because it's true, a lot of people don't think about it, or they take their coffee with them in the morning and then drink coffee all day, which really dehydrates us. So it is really important to think, okay, let's do this for my safety, but let's also do this because my body functions a lot more when we have water. So very important.
Absolutely.
So, Meg, did you want to show us some exercises? You mentioned that you could do a few for us. I think that'd be kind of cool. We only have like another just over 20 minutes. So do you want to show us some?
We'd love to. So I'll start on the chair, because we were talking about just how simple exercises on the chair can be so important for us. And I was mentioning earlier that, we need to strengthen our legs, but also our core muscles. So I'm going to show you some core exercises. And I do invite you to join me, because we're more likely to remember, once again, muscle memory, when we do it. Great. So you want to sit on your chair, but we want to sit close towards the front of the chair, so that way we have a bit of space behind us. And what we'll do first is I want you to place your hands right on your stomach, and we're going to be activating the core. So what I want you to do is think about pulling your stomach in as you inhale, and then as you exhale, release and relax. So breathing in, we want to tighten up, just like you're doing up a tight belt. Inhale and then relax. So a lot of times we do move without really engaging our core. And what a lot of my clients has found is that when their core gets stronger, they feel less unstable, because automatically their core will kick in as they're lifting their legs and as they're balancing. So we'll do 2 more here. Tighten in, and then breathe out, relax. And one more time. Inhale, tighten in, and then exhale and relax. So one exercise I really love to do right on the chair is called the reverse sit-up. So you want to walk your feet away from you, sit up nice and tall, make sure there's a nice gap behind you so you can lean back, arms across, and then look straight ahead. We're going to be leaning backwards, but don't touch the back of the chair. That's where the challenge is. And using your core, tightening up like we practiced, sit up nice and tall. So inhale as you go back, tightening. No touching, exhale, and straighten up. Now this is a really good alternative to doing a sit-up on the floor. I know a lot of people really don't want to go on the floor to exercise. Most of my clients say, no, if I get down, it'll be tough to get back up. So this is a really good way to incorporate some strength right on the chairs, whether you're in front of a screen, on the couch, just sedentary. I would recommend doing this between 10 and 15 times. Okay, so really good one for the core. Now
another thing too, And another thing, Meg, that came to mind is they could also do sit-ups on their bed, right?
Yes.
Instead of on the floor, just as an option.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I do have a few videos on my YouTube channel where I'm doing stretches and movements on a couch. But I always tell people you can do this on the floor if you're comfortable to get up and down, but you can also do this on a couch or in bed. So that's a really good thing to mention too. Yeah. All right. So let's do another one that's really functional. So this exercise is called the sit to stand. So we're going to start in a seated position. We want our feet to be right below our knees, about as wide as our hips. And you can push off from your knees. So we want to stand up all the way. Stand up nice and tall. And then we'll sit back down on the chair. Now, those of you who are really strong, you can bring your arms across your chest. And I always tell people as you stand up, straighten up your shoulders for good posture. So I do see a lot of people who are rushing to get to the phone, and often they scramble to their feet, and then the balance is already off. So this is a great one to strengthen up the legs. Take your core, squeeze as you rise, and then sit back down. And usually I get people to do this minimum 10 times, and building up 5 extra sit to stands each week. So I was working with one group and they made it up to 45 times. These are people in the 70s and 80s. So it's amazing how over time you can build up that strength.
Awesome.
All right, I'll show you a few exercises you can do while standing. So the one here we'll do is we'll use that chair, and I really like to exercise beside the chair or beside a counter, just in case you need to grab on. But we're going to be lifting your knee, and then extend your leg out front. Bend the knee and lower your leg. So do this again. We want to pull in the core like we practiced, and then extend the leg out, tighten, and release. So do this again. Up, extend, down, and release. And you can always add to this. You can add your arm as you do this. You can choose to do the opposite arm and really challenge that balance by lifting that arm completely off the floor. So you want to make sure you always do both sides, but today I'm going to show you a few other ones that you can do. So we also want to focus on the back of the legs. So we want to stand behind your chair and then tap one foot behind. Alternate legs. And as you do this, you can shift forwards slightly. So we're leaning forwards. And we're thinking about squeezing the glutes. So we're strengthening up the back of the legs, which help to support our hips. So anyone with bad hips, or maybe you've had a hip replacement, or you know it's supposed to happen soon, this is a good one to do. And then the alternative to this is, option 2 is to lengthen and lift. So we're working on our balance at the same time. You can use that chair, or you can add the opposite arm. And I tell people to go slow when you're exercising. Remember to breathe, but take your time. It's easy to do things fast. So we're going with momentum. It's harder to slow it down because you really have to engage those muscles. So then this time we'll hold it for 3, 2, 1, and lower. Other side. Lift and hold. 3, 2, 1, and release. All right, so we'll do one more. This one was really, really helpful for 2 of my clients. So what happened recently is a woman was walking. She caught her toe in the sidewalk and she almost fell, but she came to class the next day. She said, Meg, I didn't fall, and I know it's because of this exercise that we do every week. So I was so thrilled. She obviously was so happy. And I want to show you this next exercise that's so, so helpful. So again, we'll stand behind your chair, bring one foot in front of the other, and just like train tracks, we want your feet to be in line with your hips. And what we'll do here is we want to shift our weight forwards, lifting your back heel, then shift your weight back to the back foot, lifting your toes. And I like to start by holding onto the chair, or maybe reaching with one arm. And the key here, as we're shifting forwards and back, is once again, we want to activate our core. Pull the stomach in as you lean forwards, pull yourself back. Inhale and exhale. So as we do this in class each week, what the woman was learning is that as you tighten your core, you stop momentum. A lot of people fall because they catch their toe or they lose their balance and they go falling forwards. So what we're training our bodies to do is to stop, pause, pull ourselves back. So she was convinced this is the one that prevented the fall. Now as you get stronger, you can always reach both arms, press back, reach in front, and press back. All right, we'll switch. We'll do the other leg, just a few on this side, because we do have a stronger side, most of us. So it is good to learn how to control our movement, again, by pulling that stomach in, tightening, pulling yourself up. And just notice as you do this, which side tends to be a little bit stronger. And what I advise in that case is to focus on doing 5 extra repetitions on the weaker side so that we can build up that strength. All right, one more here. All right, excellent job. Good work.
Those are really, really simple, but effective. I mean, you can do that while you wait for coffee. Like, I mean, it's pretty amazing how simple they are, but effective. So thank you for sharing this.
Yes, yeah. Something that you just said, Heidi, made me think of a way that I get people to exercise, and it's called habit stacking. So if you go every day to, get your coffee ready in the morning, or you brush your teeth at the same time every morning, that's a habit that you already do. And there's an amazing book called Atomic Habits. And I read that a few years ago, absolutely loved it because it was just so relevant. And the whole concept is do the thing that you do every day, brew your coffee, and then habit stack. So add that new habit right after you do that normal thing. So in this case, I would say, okay, go turn that coffee on and then do 2 balance exercises right by the counter while you're waiting. Instead of just scrolling on your phone, sitting down, it's a perfect time to build that new habit. And then over time, that will become routine. Those are the 2 things you do every morning. Don't even have to think about it. So that can be such a helpful way to start moving more and building up that new habit.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I need to start doing that. I used to do kickboxing, but my teacher could no longer do it in the area that I live. And so I really miss that and really miss that activity. And I definitely know which is my weaker side because my roundhouse kicks were not that impressive on my weaker side. But my stronger side, I was Ruby Roundhouse, like I knew how to do it, but it is true. So I would try to work harder on my weaker side.
Yeah, it's amazing. We all have it. And usually our body compensates, so we'll always step forward with that stronger leg without even thinking about it. Or we'll always reach for something with our stronger hand. A fun little thing I've done with clients too is I said, all right, this week your homework is to reach with your non-dominant hand, to turn on light switches, to reach for your coffee mug, to reach for your toothbrush. And it's amazing how it activates the brain, but it is just so not what we do. So it is a really fun challenge to add into the week.
That's actually a really great idea because generally speaking, when you're going to hurt yourself, it's going to be your dominant side because that's what it always happens, right? Like karma seems to hit you and it's always the dominant side that is affected. And then what do you do?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So that's good. That's awesome. So, well, we kind of went through all the thoughts I had, but I did read in your presentation that over 800 or 8,200 fall-related visits to the ER department in Ottawa alone. I think that was from 2017 was that stat. That is an exorbitant number.
Yeah.
That is a huge number.
Staggering. Exactly.
It is staggering, which causes falls, so be careful. But
Staggering causes falls.
It's staggering causes falls, so be careful. But yeah, no, that is insane. And I honestly, I've only been in this business for a couple of years, but I watch my in-laws and I watch my parents now because they are in their late 70s and early 80s. And, my father-in-law has had.
I think she might have frozen.
No.
So,
Exercises.
yes. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Are we good? Technical problem?
You froze for a second.
I did?
Yes.
Oh,
So you were saying
I
about
live
your
in the
father-in-law?
country.
You were saying about your father-in-law?
Yeah, so he had 2 hip surgeries and he does his exercises, but watching him walk now, it's just, he used to just go all over the place and now everything is so different. And I worry for him because he goes up and down the stairs and his little man cave is in the basement and I worry about them. And, the
Does he have
exercises.
handrails? Does he have
They have
handrails?
handrails. They have
Like
one
sturdy?
side.
Okay, good.
They,
I
Like
don't
a-
know.
you want
I
to
don't
make sure they're
know.
sturdy, I guess, right?
Yeah, and again, like I just notice these things more now, now that I see it every day. We have a client that we help with showers and they were doing great and then slipped and
Yeah.
now they're scared again. And it's so hard. It's so hard to hear that because it just breaks your heart because they were doing so well, and they were advancing and then one tiny little slip and set somebody back. It is devastating. And
It is the confidence.
and
They lose
that's
confidence,
pardon
right?
me.
And they just lose their confidence, right? And then you also see them sometimes grabbing onto furniture, like furniture surfing,
Yeah.
between to get around. Like you'll see that a lot too. When people lose
So-
confidence.
Then Catherine, what can BuildAble do in that, like grab bars in the bathroom? Sure, that makes
Yeah.
sense. But what about around the house, like in your living room?
Yeah.
What
Well, in the living room, I know that there's the super cool. I'm sure you've seen those. Like Healthcraft makes them, and they put them like right beside your chair or your couch, and it actually this is basically a grab bar, but it helps someone get up out of their couch or their chair.
so
So
is
that's
it
one thing
secured?
so that's
Yeah.
one thing that I've seen so Healthcraft makes that. But yeah, we focus a lot we're like more like ramps, like what in our company.
Okay.
There's a lot of ramps, like so getting someone in the home, like we always go out and do an assessment and see first of all how they're getting in their house, because if there's no point of us doing a big bathroom renovation if they can't get in their home, right? So the step one is we assess their outside. So yeah, so we do like sometimes ramps. Not everyone needs a ramp though, or like vertical platform lifts. They're just like little elevators that just like lift up. Usually they're in the garage or on the side of the house. Sometimes they're in the home. Or just making sure there's handrails, right? If they're able to walk up, because not everyone needs a ramp or vertical platform lift. But we also actually do elevators a lot in the
Saw that
home.
on your website.
We actually elevators, yeah. So we actually like they're beautiful. You can make beautiful elevators right in your home. So we had someone that was a surgeon and he had a home in Westboro. I don't know if you've seen those really new tall ones, like they're modern looking, and he didn't want to move. So we built an elevator that went from his garage. So he had an accessible van. So he came out. Oh, sorry, he had like a stroke or something that sadly happened, and he was in a wheelchair now. And he would drive into his garage and then get out of the van and then go right into the elevator. And the elevator stopped on like 4 floors or something. It was like a really tall house. So we just put it right through his house. So he was able to stay in his home with his family and everyone, adjust it well. And yeah, so it's very rewarding helping people stay in their home, right? Aging in place or staying there, regardless of their age, staying in there. People want to be at home, right? They're happy there. So yeah, so we do, elevators. And then we're doing multi-generational homes also. So people that want to bring their mother, father, or someone like a loved one into their home, we could build like a unit for them, like a nanny suite or whatever how you want to say that. Yeah, so
You're saying a lot of very expensive things. So is there funding out there? Is there any kind of thing that a person can look into?
Yeah, so there actually are. So I can send this to you, but I do have like a sheet of like a lot of information about funding. So this is one thing that people always ask us, which is of course you want to get money back because government's offering it. So the home accessibility tax credit is a federal tax credit. and you could get up to $3,000 back for that one. So that applies for like grab bars, handrails, bathtub heads, step-in showers, the roll-in showers, ramps, everything like that. You have to be 65 or older or have a disability. So if you're younger and you have the disability tax credit, you can qualify for that one. So you basically just keep the receipts for whoever does the work, or you buy the supplies and you submit it at tax season. So it's basically a deduction off your income. And then there's the medical expense tax credit. So like if you do renovation, you can qualify for the medical expense tax credit and also the home accessibility tax credit. So you can actually apply for two there. There's actually now a multi-generational renovation home tax credit, and there's more and more people like bringing parents in with them instead of, I guess, going to retirement homes or something. So now that's up to $7,500 back for building a nanny suite or something. Then there are some that are refundable personal tax credits. So it's, people with like lower income, and so there's a seniors home care at home tax credit. So that's Ontario provincial government. And that's for people that are 70 plus. So they had to have a low to moderate income. And then there's one that you can actually apply through the City of Ottawa, and it's called the Ontario Renovates. So they actually administer the program, but it's coming from the provincial government. And again, that's for low income seniors and people with disabilities that cover essential repairs and accessible modifications. So financial assistance up to $20,000. It's a combination of forgivable loans and grant amounts from the City of Ottawa. So that's one to definitely note for the lower income, moderate income people. So you have to show your income statements. March of Dimes, they have a whole grant process. They have a home and a vehicle modification program. And Veterans Affairs is a big one. So anyone that served in the military that are veterans, they actually have there's not a certain set amount. Basically, you have to call your case manager and you have a K number, and they talk about what the needs are. And yeah, so we actually work a lot with veterans. And yeah, so they have the branch Poppy Fund also, and the Soldiers Aid Commission too. So anything that is not granted to the VAC, they can get through possibly the Poppy Fund. So yeah, so those are just some of them that I know about. There's other agencies too, like maybe they can look into like MS. And they can ask them, if they have their own pot of money. So yeah, there is money, and we do try to help people, guide them of where they can look for to access funding.
Yeah, because that is also very daunting and very scary to do as well. And probably a lot of people don't do it because there's so much red tape. There's so much, just so much, and everything is really online now as well. So that makes it harder for a lot of seniors who aren't as savvy with computers and everything, and just, well, never mind, I won't worry about it. So it's good to know that it's out there. They just need help.
Exactly. And actually at the Veterans Affairs, they actually have a coordinator that kind of helps people fill out those forms. Like they sit down with people and they go over the funding with them. And there is help. I mean, we can also help them as well. Some of them are pretty straightforward, like the home accessibility tax credit. They just keep the receipts and then they put them in. They just need like an accountant or a financial, whoever does their taxes. They basically put them in. So some of them are pretty well, easier, I guess you could say.
Right. So well, that's good. That's good to know too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So you mentioned that there are pillars. What are these pillars? Can we outline those just as a sum up for today? Because these are
summarize, yes.
Just to summarize for people just before we end the show.
Meg,
Sure, I'll talk about the two. So these pillars are really different aspects of health, what we want to focus on as we think about preventing falls. So I was talking about exercise and the importance in keeping our bodies strong, especially as we get older. So that's the first pillar, and really focusing on specific exercises to build up strength. So what I demonstrated today, things on your feet, exercises in a chair, using equipment can really be helpful. And then the second pillar is nutrition, and we talked about that today as well. So making sure you're getting that protein, having lots of vegetables, looking at different that you can eat to make sure your body is functioning well. All right, Catherine, I'll let you focus on the last two.
Last two. Yeah, so it's the home, the home safety, the home accessibility piece. So Yeah, so we always say if you're going to do anything in your home, it's yes, the grab bars. We're always gonna recommend these because these are the more affordable options to install grab bars. So, but of course, there's a whole bunch of different things that I listed that we can help with, and then doing the things that are free that we also mentioned about like decluttering and making sure you don't trip over wires and having the right footwear, making sure that your shoes are not like flip-flops. So you have to see people wearing flip-flops. Make sure that there's like proper shoes with a backing, and that there's treads, right? Now that winter's coming up, please make sure to look at the weather forecast before you head outside, because if there's going to be freezing rain, we don't highly recommend going out there. There's snow. So just really look at the weather, assess whether it's a good idea to be out there. If you really have to be out there, they actually do sell crampons that can kind of go onto your shoe, and then they'll grab onto the ice so you can like walk safer. So these are just some things that you could do just at your own home. So, but yeah, so just oh yeah, and then the medication, get your meds checked and your eyes checked, your hearing checked. Just do an overall assessment of your health to make sure you're healthy. If you need glasses or hearing aids, get those too. So yeah,
Awesome.
so there's a couple things that you can definitely do today.
And Ottawa Public Health has some really good resources too. I know they've got a list of like a really good checklist that you can go through to see if you are at a fall risk. And then they do have other recommendations of how you can really make sure your house is safe. But yeah, both between myself and Catherine, we have lots of other resources too to make sure that people can stay in their homes wherever that home is. For a lot of people, it is an apartment, but they don't want to move from there. So yeah, making sure that you are taking ownership in terms of what you can do to remain safe is really empowering, and we really encourage people to take the time to do some research and to also look at their homes with a set of new eyes. So realize, to just see, okay, is there anything that I could possibly trip over? Is there something that's, could be a fall hazard? Or am I doing risky things like climbing on top of the counter to try to reach something, or changing a light bulb when really I should wait and ask my neighbor or my son to do it for me. So sometimes it is really that. It's, okay, what can I ask for? How can I ask for help? And realizing that people love to help. I've had many clients over the years ask me, Meg, I've got a really high box. I really want to get my Christmas decorations out, but I know I can't get it. I can't reach it myself. Would you mind helping? And I'm always honored to help. I really appreciate them asking. So, people really do love to help.
Yeah, they're very kind.
Yes, yeah. So don't be afraid to help if that's you. If you realize can't do the things that I used to, it's okay. That's why all of us are here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we all need to get used to asking for help if we need it. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You can start asking for help more often than not, because a lot of people just keep it inside and they're like, no, it's fine. I'll do it. And then what happens? You get either overloaded mentally and your mental load is way too high, or you get physically overloaded and both of them are not good.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that people are just one fall away from losing their independence. One fall. It could just be one fall, and then they might lose their independence. So it's so important to do as much as they can to empower themselves to change their lifestyle, their homes, all these things that we mentioned, right? Because everyone wants to be independent. That's the big thing we always hear, right? So,
Absolutely.
but they can do something about it. That's the positive. This is supposed to be a positive talk, that they can do something about it. To stay home.
Well, and that's why it's such an important topic for us to talk about this month. Being
why there's a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Fall Prevention Month. It's November, so
exactly.
We decided to talk about it this month in our Compassionate Conversations podcast.
So thank you both for coming in and speaking about this important topic with us.
Thank you for having us.
We really appreciate it. Please feel free to reach out, those of you in the audience, and reach out to Meg or Catherine, depending on what your needs are. And of course, if you can't find the info, which I will put down in the bottom, but if not, please feel free to reach out to us and we can give you that info at My Place Home Care. So we're wishing you all a wonderful week, a wonderful month, and we'll see you soon. Thanks very much.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.